Well, hello and welcome to our program tonight. I've got something special to share with you tonight. Those of you who have been following my music channel or watching us on Friday night, by now you've probably heard some of my story. But what started me in all of this stuff, in 2006, I watched a few little YouTube videos, and they were entertaining because they were not scripted and not polished and not whatever like the networks are. You know, you get tired of that after a while. You know, in fact, it gets so mundane, they even have to put a laugh track in to tell you where it's supposed to have been funny. So, yeah, it's no wonder YouTube has become popular. It's more, YouTube is a reality show, more or less. You know, a lot of these reality shows you see on TV, they're all scripted. They have to be. How can you move a camera crew in and them not know that's happening? You know, so those things are scripted. But YouTube became the real reality show. Anyway, about 2006, I thought, well, I got a little camera, you know, and I had a little primitive piece of software that could get it onto YouTube, and so I made 8 or 10 videos and put them up. And I was retiring from the music business anyway. I was about 65 then, and so I put those up and got busy with other things. Started a woodworking channel, but I'm an amateur woodworker. I love it, but I'm still an amateur, and that channel went nowhere fast. And I looked down one day after about 8 or 10 years, not having done anything with the music channel for that period of time, and boom, 12,000 subscribers. I'm going, whoa, what's been going on here? And so then I began to wonder, I'm going, well, what if I spend some time let me go back to music. I was getting hungry anyway. It had been about 5 or 6 years. Well, no, it'd been longer than that I had taken off from music, you know, and I was really getting hungry. A real musician can never lay it down. And so when I saw that, I'm going, what happens if I start spending a little time working on music videos? Well, I had a morph program, and I took a lot of pictures of Jesus, and the next, after about 8 or 10 years there, the first one I put up that was truly high def was What a Friend We Have in Jesus. Well, next thing I know, it's getting way more views than I ever got on a woodworking video. And I thought, well, you know what? I got 62 songs that I recorded 15, 20 years ago. Let me just make some videos of these, you know, using those as the soundtrack. Well, the next thing you know, we got 20,000, we got 30,000. It just kept going. And, you know, it took us 10 years to get 12,000, but it only took us 3,000. And we hit 100,000 subscribers. I said it only took 3,000. It only took 3 years, and we hit 100,000 subscribers. So I just wanted to thank all of you out there. And I also want to thank my grandson Dylan, because I hit that 100,000 back before Christmas, back in December. And, you know, all of the YouTube stuff tells you that it takes about a month to get your award. Well, a month went by, 2 months went by, 3 months. And my grandson started getting more concerned than I did. You know, he had been following my subscribers and everything. So finally, he told Linda, my wife, a couple of weeks ago. He says, "We need to help Papa get his award." You know, because I heard a talk show guy in Atlanta one day said, "If you don't know anything about the internet, just ask your grandkids. They can tell you. They can answer your questions for you, or how to work your computer or whatever." So sure enough, within 5 minutes, he had somebody in a chat room, and I mean, just within a few days, they had this out to me. But I just wanted to thank. First of all, I want to thank Dylan, because I wouldn't even have this if it hadn't been for him. But I want to thank all of you for tuning in and subscribing. And just a little aside, it took us, like I said, 10 years to get to 12,000. Took us 3 more years to get to 100,000. It's only taken 6 months to get the next 50,000. So we're at 156,000 subscribers right now. But I just want to thank you for this. Thank you so much. Certainly couldn't be possible without you. But anyway, without further ado, that's enough of that. Let's get to the musical portion of our program tonight. For our first song tonight, I'm going to do a song for you that was written by Ira Stanfill, and it's on my first CD, How Beautiful Heaven Must Be. Most of you know the story by now of that first CD. I was looking for songs to do that would be my mom and dad's favorite songs and my granny's favorite songs. And this particular song, I think I probably heard my granny play this on piano. She played some piano. And that might have been what attracted me to the piano to start off with. I know she had one in her house, and I probably drove them crazy. When I was 5 or 6 years old, getting up there going, do, 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 looking for melodies and stuff. But anyway, this was my granny's favorite song, or one of her favorite songs anyway. I'm sure she had more than one. But anyway, Granny, I know you're up there in heaven looking down, and I love you, and I'm going to do this one for you tonight. It's called I've Got a Mansion Just Over the Hilltop. I'm satisfied with just a cottage below, a little silver and a little gold. But in that city where the ransomed will shine, I want a gold one, that silver line. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. Though often tempted, tormented and tested, and like the prophet, my pillow was stone. And though I find here no permanent dwelling, I know He'll give me a mansion my own. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. Deserted or lonely, I'm not discouraged, I'm heaven bound. I'm just a pilgrim in search of a city. I want a mansion, a harp and a crown. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. Stuart Hamblen like myself, was a prodigal son. His father was a Methodist minister. Mine was a Baptist. But I feel a kinship to this guy. We both were entertainers all of our life. Stuart was the first singing cowboy. He might not have been the most popular, but he was the first one that we know of. He had a show in 1926 on radio that featured him singing cowboy songs, and he began to write songs, and he wrote such songs as Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sun Shine In. He wrote This Old House, and he wrote this song. This song he wrote in 1950, and the story goes that he had been sort of he had done movies with Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and John Wayne. John Wayne and he were big buddies, among others. So he was in the movie business and he was in the song business, and rather successful during all this time. So in the late 40s, he was doing a radio show, and a young evangelist came to town named Billy Graham. And he said he invited Billy onto the radio show as much as anything to poke a little fun at him, because Billy was not as well known then as he became. As a matter of fact, he attributes some of his, or a great deal of his popularity to Stuart Hamblen, and he and Hamblen developing that relationship where he was on the radio with him from time to time. But anyway, during that first conversation, Stuart, I think, began to fall under conviction during the interview, and he asked Billy if he could come see him later, and he said, yeah. And of course, Billy invited him to the crusade. Well, he went to the crusade, and he wound up getting saved, and he and Billy had a couple of meetings, and, they talked and what have you. But after Billy went on those shows, all of a sudden, his camp meetings began to be big meetings. And I believe this was 1963 when Billy was telling this story. He said, just things began to change when I met this guy. But anyway, so he winds up getting saved. And he and John Wayne had been big partiers, they were drinking buddies, they were hunting buddies, they did a lot of stuff together. And he said one evening at some meeting, some get-together, John offered him and said, I haven't been seeing you much lately. He said, I hear you got religion. He said, you don't miss all of our partying and everything? And in the process, he's offering him a drink. And Hamblen said, no, I don't miss all of that. It's no secret what God can do. And John looked at him and he said, I'll bet there's a song right there. Well, not long after this, his radio show had been taken from him because after he got saved, he refused to read the beer commercials, so they fired him. So he's wondering, okay, well, I just bought this new house and my entertainment career is stalling it turned out to be momentary, but there was a stall there. He's wondering how he's going to pay for his house. So he's sitting in his study one night, and all of a sudden the chimes on his clock go off. It's about midnight. And suddenly this song starts to form. The chimes of time ring out the news. Another day is through. And he said, really, the song wrote itself. He just sat there and wrote the verses out and said, the royalties from this song paid for his house. So, it truly is no secret what God can do.
The chimes of time ring out the news, another day is through. Someone slipped and fell. Was that someone you? You may have longed for added strength, your courage to renew. Do not be disheartened, for I bring hope to you. It is no secret what God can do, what He's done for us. what God can do. There is no night, for in His light you'll never walk alone. Always feel at home wherever you may roam. There is no power can conquer you while God is on your side. Just take Him at His promise. Don't run away and hide. It is no secret what God can do. What He's done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. It is no secret what God can do. What He's done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. It is no secret what God can do.
This next song I'm going to do for you tonight was written by a man named Curtis Stewart in 1942. And it became the title song of my fourth album, Lord Build Me a Cabin in the Corner of Glory Land. And his wife said that she was kind of his sounding board, you know, whenever he would write it. He wrote some 200 songs and got a lot of them published. And this was one of his most popular, probably the most popular song that he ever wrote. A lot of groups did it. It was just a very popular, particularly during that period of time. And but his wife said that he came home. He was in World War II. Like I said, this was 1942. And she said he had this first verse and the chorus and everything, and he was just struggling to get the rest of it out, you know. But he said he just felt he was feeling humble, you know. He said he realized that a lot of people wrote songs and it was telling God how good they were and how all of this, the rewards they were expecting and this, that, and the other. And he said, just in a moment of humility, he's going, well, what if I do all that and then God finds me wanting or lacking, you know? He said, I'll just be happy just to make it there, just to have a cabin, you know. And I feel the same way, to be honest about it, because I can tell you the first part of my life I don't want to tell you about. You know, I just realized one night that I can't help that, who I was, but I can help who I'm going to be. And that was the changing point in my life. That's really the night, you know, they call it getting saved or being born again. I was sitting in my chair in my studio doing some thinking. And that's how it happened for me. But my heart changed right then. See, Christianity is a condition of the heart. You can't make somebody be a Christian. You can't beat them over the head with how bad they are and all this kind of stuff. No, they have to come to grips with the fact that they want to be a better person. They want to change. They want to have a better life. And once that happens to your heart, you will be happier. You will look at things different. The happiest time of my life has been since that night. It didn't happen in church. It didn't happen by the river. It didn't happen. It just, it was a realization that took place in me. And that's kind of what being born, it's not kind of, that is what being born again is. And yes, you may profess your faith by joining the church and getting baptized and all that, but when you are saved when you have that moment where you change, you know, and you can't beat yourself up for what you've been, because you can't change that, but you can help who you're going to be. But anyway, he said that he knew he was going to get some criticism because people used to say that the Bible said, in my Father's house are many mansions. Actually, it says, if you stop and think about it, a house doesn't have a mansion in it. What the actual translation is, we now know, was my Father's house. In my Father's house are many rooms. But anyway, back in the old days, you know, people go, oh man, God's going to give us all a mansion. You know, we're not going to have a cabinet. He said, no, it was a moment of humility where I was telling God, I just want to be there. A cabin's fine with me. I'm not expecting a mansion. I just want to be there. But he said he did get criticism, that people were just telling him, no, that's not what the Bible says, and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter. I just want to be there. I just want to shake Jesus' hand. But anyway, we're going to do our version of it for you tonight. It's called, Lord, Build Me a Cabin in the Corner of Glory Land.
I've been looking for a place to call home, but I fail here to find it, so I must travel on. I don't care for fine mansions on earth's sinking sand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. Yes, build me just a cabin in the corner of glory land, in the shade of the tree of life, where it may ever stand, where I can just hear the angels sing and shake Jesus' hand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. Blessed Lord, I'm not asking to live in the mist, for I know I'm not worthy of such splendor as this. But I'm asking for mercy while humbly I stand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. Yes, build me just a cabin in the corner of glory land, in the shade of the tree of life, where it may ever stand, where I can just hear the angels sing and shake Jesus' hand. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. I have many dear loved ones who've gone on this way. On that great final morning, I'd love to hear them say, come and join in our singing and playing our band. Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. Yes, build me just a cabin in the corner of glory land, in the shade of the tree of life, where it may ever stand,
Right now I'm going to do you a song that was just one of my most requested songs back when I was figuring out which songs to put on albums and this sort of thing. This song just kept coming up, so I put it on my Turn Your Radio On CD. It was written by Bob Ferguson in 1958, and it was recorded in 1960 by Ferlin Husky. And the powers that be really didn't want him to do this song because it was a little too religious, they thought, for the time. Turned out Ferlin stood his ground and did the song anyway, and it became his last #1 song. So he had a small reward for standing his ground there, but it has just become one of the most popular. I mean, you can call it a gospel song, you can call it a country song, you can call it a pop song, whatever you want. It's just a very popular song. I get many views of this on my YouTube channel. But we're going to do our version for you tonight, On the Wings of a Dove.
On the wings of a snow-white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, when troubles surround us, when evils come, the body grows weak, the spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, he doesn't forget us. He sends down his love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow-white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove, wings of a dove. When Noah had drifted on the flood many days, he searched for land in various ways. Troubles he had some, but wasn't forgotten. God sent down his love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow-white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove. When Jesus went down to the waters that day, he was baptized in the usual way. When it was done, God blessed his son. He sent down his love, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow-white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow-white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove.
Albert Brumley was a songwriter from the early to mid 20th century. He was active during the 1930s and 1940s, and some in the 1920s. He was born in 1905 in Oklahoma, and he died in 1977, and by this time he was living in Missouri. But he was a songwriter, of course, and he wrote about 800 songs. And he worked with the Stamps Baxter Publishing Company for, I think it was around 34 years, something like that. And he actually wound up buying that company, and he and his sons put together the Albert Brumley Music Publishing. But anyway, he worked for about 34 years doing that, and he was a teacher in the Ozarks, and he was important in music in more ways than just writing songs. But in 1933, he published Precious Jesus, Hold My Hand. And I don't have a specific story about why he wrote the song, but we can just imagine that him living through the Depression and coming from living on a farm, he knew about hard times, and he probably did call on Jesus from time to time to hold his hand. But we're going to do that, our version of that great old song for you tonight. It's called Precious Jesus, Hold My Hand.
As I travel through this pilgrim land, there is a friend who walks with me, leads me safely through the sinking sand. It is the Christ of Calvary. This would be my prayer, dear Lord, each day to help me do the best I can. For I need thy light to guide me day and night. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea, oh Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Let me travel in the light divine, that I may see the blessed way. Keep me that I may be wholly thine, and sing redemption song someday. I will be a soldier brave and true, and ever firmly take a stand. As I onward go and daily meet the foe, blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea, oh Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Valley dim toward the setting of the sun, lead me safely to a land of rest, if I a crown of life have won. I have put my faith in thee, dear Lord, that I may reach the golden strand. There's no other friend on whom I can depend. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea. Oh Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Savior, hold my hand.
Right now, I just want to remind you about our website, www.birdyeomans.com. All my CDs are there. My double CDs are there. My songbook's there. There's a couple of specials that we have there. And just want to invite you to come by and take a look at it. If you have any questions, my wife Linda will be glad to help you. Her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. And thank you so much for being a part of our program. And now we're just going to get you back to the musical portion of the show. Well, it's come time for our final song tonight, and I'm going to wind up tonight with a song that was just, in 2005, it was stated as the #1 song of faith in the top 20 songs of faith that was released that year. But Hank Williams wrote this song in 1947. And he and Audrey did a version of it using Bob Wills' band. And Audrey was not the best singer in the world. She thought she was, but she was not. And Hank knew this, and the people around him knew it. But he was trying to get along with her. You know, they had they had a very stormy relationship. But anyway, he sent a note ahead to the people that were going to release this. He said, "Don't release this." He knew it was not good. But anyway, the next year he recorded a version of it, and it did get released. And in 1952, he went on the Kate Smith show and did it for the first time on television. We're going to do it for you tonight. It's that great old gospel song, "I Saw the Light."
I wandered so aimless, life filled with sin. I wouldn't let my dear Savior in. Then Jesus came like a stranger in the night. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light, I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Just like a blind man, I wandered alone. Worries and fears I claimed for my own. Then like the blind man that God gave back his sight. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light, I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way. Now I have traded the wrong for the right. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light, I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light, I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Praise the Lord, I saw the light.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're always glad to have you with us. Always appreciate you coming by and chatting with us and enjoying the evening with us. I'd like to remind you before I go, don't forget to visit my website, birdyeomans.com. My music store is there. It's got my CDs and it's got my book in it. But it also has history and videos, and there's a lot of stuff happening on it. So visit our website, if you will, birdyeomans.com. And if you have any questions about anything, my wife Linda will be glad to help you. Her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. And be kind to people this week. We just need to get this kindness thing going. The world is in a mess right now. We just need to start thinking about each other and think kindly of each other. You know, it doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. We're just people trying to get along, trying to get by on this earth. So let's be kind to each other. And I'll see you next Friday night.